Good day, everyone. If you watched yesterday's, and if you haven't, go back and watch yesterday's. Yesterday's was part one, right? And guess what? Today's part two, or maybe I shouldn't call it part two. I should just call it number two because it's all about the number two. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about first your bowel movements. All right. So your bowel movements are like a computer printout. Okay, so it tells you exactly how your digestion is, your elimination is. All right, you have this tube called your digestive tract. Your mouth is the front door, your rectum is your back door. And this is the tube to the outside world. Everything past that tube inwards does not get to the outside world, but the outside world gets to go in this tube and then it comes out this tube. All right, so the end result is everything. So are you constipated? A lot of people would say, no, I'm not constipated. Well, I'll tell you something. I don't meet people that have good bowels. Everybody thinks they have good bowels because guess what? The only people that you talk about or about your poo with is maybe your family. But your family eats just like you and they poo just like you. So that wouldn't be good at comparison. So here we go. So first of all, you'll know if you have constipation because you're always feeling like you got to go, but then you got to work to get it out. Like to the point you might have to work to get it out because do you know where hemorrhoids are from? Hemorrhoids are from absorbing your own toxic waste in the lower part of your pelvis and from grunting like this. You take your diaphragm and you're going, trying to get that little gold nugget out because you didn't drink enough structured water and you don't have a whole plant-based diet and because you eat like the majority and oh yeah, you poo like the majority, but you're not constipated. Okay? So understand something. Just like if I were to cut these trees down and I wanted to take them to the mill, I better put them in a river that actually has enough water to get those logs to the mill. So if you're not drinking enough structured water, you're not going to do that. If you don't have enough whole plant-based fiber in you, you're not going to be cleaning yourself up like a scrub brush and moving things along. So let's talk about it. So if you don't have constipation, a lot of people have diarrhea. And what is diarrhea? Well, diarrhea is the result of constipation because the waste has been sitting in you for so dang long that you're reabsorbing the waste and you're reabsorbing the water and you're getting really toxic in your system. And that waste sits in you. What happens when waste sits in you too long? Well, it putrefies. Did you ever go to the farm and take a look at a manure pile and take a fork and then flip over the waste? All of a sudden you'll see a bunch of steam come off. Well, that's called endotoxin from bad bacteria. So when you have waste sitting in you, you get bad bacteria. And what are bacteria? Oh, wait a minute. Bacteria are 70%, okay, to 80% of your immune system. So you better get that. And those bacteria go from good to bad. And when they go bad, they give off toxins that aren't good. So that toxins builds up in your bowel and in your body. And your body goes, oh my God, we're getting so toxic here. And it pulls the water from your system, okay, into your bowel to create this flood, like breaking open the dam to try to get that hardened waste out. So you've got diarrhea. And that is a safety valve for someone who's highly infected. Did you hear what I said? That's a safety valve for someone who has high infection in their body. And remember something, you have a lot of infection like fungus and bacteria and viruses, okay? What is your body doing? It's wasting all its energy on trying to fight these invaders instead of your immune system. Okay, all right. So let's keep moving. So now we go from constipation to, we go to diarrhea. Remember, if you have diarrhea for too long and you have too much water coming out, you're losing electrolytes, a lot of sodium, right? And so now you're going to feel faint. You could even have vertigo. And you're going to be off balance and you're going to feel nauseous, right? So we don't want to have diarrhea for too long. One day diarrhea, yeah, that can happen. You can pick up something, pick up a bug. But the thing is that if your plumbing is good and your immune system's up, doesn't matter if you get a bug, you should be able to knock it off. Okay, so then if your stool is just uneven, well, we know that there's irritation, there's inflammation in there, but it's not the end of the day. And a lot of people have uneven stool because throughout their bowel, they have patches of inflammation. Okay, so the waste doesn't move along right and there's disruption in there. All right. And then if somebody who's got firm stool, we know that, well, if it's really firm, we know that it's dehydrated. So that means you've been reabsorbing your water and it stayed in you too long. It's got to move along. It's an assembly line, okay? If it's cracked, we know it's really dry because now it's cracking up, okay? So understand, we're looking for a smooth stool. We're not looking for a loose stool. We're not looking for a jagged stool. And then the length of an adult should be about 5 to 7 inches long. Okay. And then the width, okay, if you take your first finger and your thumb, then that's how big your stool should be. It should be no smaller than that. Okay. You see? So that's be the size of my stool. Okay. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for a ribbon type, because a ribbon type stool, what it is it's inflammation and you're in spasm. Okay. So we don't want that either. And you don't want these little rabbit turds to come out, because that means you are totally impacted. You are in big trouble. Remember that the more trouble your bowel's in, the more trouble your uterus and your ovaries are in. Your prostate is in, your bladder's in. So when you start to have trouble peeing, let me tell you something, you're already in big trouble. Okay. So just because everybody has trouble peeing today, they either pee their pants and they need to wear Depends because the valve is so inflamed and the bladder is so toxic that and inflamed, it can't hold urine. So it wants to push it out. Just because it's normal for people that are over 60 and 70 doesn't make it normal. Even people that are 40 years old are peeing their pants today. Drip, 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 because the valve won't hold it back. So understand that, okay? Next thing is, does your bowel movement, so your bowel movement can be anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches, you know, and then 5 to 7 inches long. And then does your bowel movement, okay, does it float? Because if it floats, that's a good sign because there's oxygen in it still. That means the transit time was good. But if it floats and it's got these bubbles on it, that means that it's fermented. You know what's making it float? The bubbles that are attached to it, because you're fermenting. You don't want to ferment that fast, okay? Because that's called putrefaction. Does it sink to the bottom like a lead cake? Well, if it does, there's no oxygen. It's too compacted and it's a rock, okay? So that's not good either, all right? Okay. So the difference here of a good bowel movement and a bad bowel movement is what we're talking about. So does it have mucus on it? Because if your bowel movement has mucus on it, that means you have inflammatory bowel syndrome, leaky gut going on, because that mucus is your bowel making tons of mucus to protect itself against the inflammation. That's why there's mucus on your stool. If you've got blood in your stool, chances are if it's bright red, it's hemorrhoids. And if it's darker, then it's coming from higher up in your large intestine. And that's ulcerations from the bacteria and the fecal matter just getting caught in what we call hostras. And that causes diverticuli, outpocketing. And guess what? You ready for this? 80% of the population over the age of 30, 40 has diverticuli. They don't know they have them. Outpockings of poop stuck in the hostras, they're called, in your bowel. Until they get diverticulitis. And then that's the inflammation from the poop that's just rotting in there. Okay. All of this can be reversed. Everything can be reversed. You're an amazing healing. You have amazing healing capacity. So understand the blood, the mucus, you take a look at it. Okay. So does it slide out easy? Your stool should slide out easy where you don't have to use a whole roll of toilet paper to wipe your bum. Because if it's all sticky and glicky, that means you're eating too much sticky, glicky food. It should be able to come out and you hardly need any toilet paper. That's the reality of it too, okay? All right. Do you have to strain? Because as long as you have to strain, you might cause what? An inguinal hernia? Oh yeah. You can get those from not being able to poo. Or a hiatal hernia where you're pushing down on your diaphragm and your stomach pops up. How would you like that one? Okay? Okay, and the other thing is definitely you're going to get hemorrhoids if you got a strain. They come from straining and pushing down, okay? And we know that if you're straining, it's dry, and we know if it's dry, you're reabsorbing your own waste. So the time of day you poo is important, but look at, check out our daily cleansing tea. You're never going to go wrong. If you were to drink this tea in the morning and at night, and you did that every day, understand there's no laxatives in this. It helps to support your lymph system, your blood system, your kidneys. It supports your colon, okay, and it supports your liver. And it does it on a gentle, loving basis. So understand something. How good's your plumbing? You'll know how good your plumbing is because your plumbing is not good at all right? If you've got bladder problems, inflammation, if you've got prostate problems, uterine problems, ovarian problems. Oh yeah, I'm ready for this. Are you ready for this? Breast problems, inflammation, swelling, breast cancer. We already know your plumbing is shot. And guess what? You ready for this one? If you've got inflammation through your body, you've got any type of disease, we already know your plumbing's not good because everything starts from your mouth to your rectum. It's just a tube. And from there, hey, how could your blood get dirty if you weren't reabsorbing your own waste? Okay, so check us out. All right, check yourself out because guess what? Your bowel movements are a computer. They tell you where you stand and the strength and how much you pee. If you're getting up and peeing 6, 7 times a night, you've already got trouble in your prostate, your uterus, your ovaries, and your bladder and your bowel. Yeah, go figure. And is anybody going to tell you that? No. And did you ever notice something? The medical industry, pharmaceutical industry, they never take a look at your core, which is what? Your large intestine, small intestine, which houses 85% of your immune system. It also houses 85% of your energy system in here. So depending on the quality of this is the quality of you. Meanwhile, you can go and walk almost to any doctor's office and look like you're 3 to 6 months pregnant when you're even a man and they don't even give it a second thought. Meanwhile, you're putrefying in there and kissing your life goodbye. All right? So love yourself. Love yourself today with gentle baby steps of cleansing and moving forward and learning how to create the perfect day. Go to Doc of Detox Library and read the Perfect Day Guide and read the rest of the guides on there and watch the videos and get your life started.